Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group on YouTube. I am your host as always, Ryan, and today we are doing our third episode of the Looking Back series that I've started, where we look back at things from the past of wrestling. It doesn't have to necessarily be WWE, it can be TNA, Ring of Honor, all companies, some of the good and some of the bad. So today we are here to look at Dustin Rhodes' second run in TNA as the character Black Rain. Now, a lot of you may not even remember Black Rain in TNA because, his whole run there lasted under a year, and let's say it wasn't the best run of his career. But even so, it's still fun to always look back at some of the not so good as well as the good. So obviously Dustin is known for, mainly in the wrestling world, for his gimmick of Goldust in the WWE. You know, I think he ended up with, in the end, about 4, maybe 5 runs with WWE, you know, flipping from different promotions at the time. But Goldust is probably his most famous character, if you like, and probably his most over with the fans as well. His most popular character was Goldust. But we're going to look at his probably least popular character of Black Rain in TNA. So Dustin Rhodes has been wrestling now for 35 years, so it's no surprise that he's had multiple stints in multiple companies, including WWF/WWE, TNA, WCW, and even All Japan Pro Wrestling. But today we're here to talk and take a look back at his second stint in TNA as the character Black Rain. Dustin's first run in TNA wasn't all that bad. He was the lone star Dustin Rhodes, and he even competed for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in a losing effort against Jeff Jarrett. But in July of 2007, Rhodes returned to TNA, a victory road, attacking Wildcat Chris Harris and helping Christian Cage earn the victory in their match. Dustin then did an interview with Mike TNA where he discussed having a split personality since he was the age of 14, and that it was now time for him to embrace it and let out his darker side. The Black Rain character was pitched to Dustin by Vince Russo. It was a darker version, basically. It was a darker version of Goldust, with him wearing the black and silver all-in-one suit, black and silver face paint with a black wig, whereas obviously we were used to the gold that he wore as Goldust. It was literally a darker version of Goldust. They can spin it how they want. It was clearly based on Goldust. You can tell by the get-up he wore that it was just a very, very darker side of the Goldust character, if you like. Instead of it being more like over the top and sexualized, it was quite dark and sinister. So even in looks, like you say, the black and silver rather than the black and gold. Dustin at this time though was at the lowest point in his personal life. He just split with his wife, and he was taking drugs and abusing alcohol as a way of coping. You know, he says in his book he was popping up to 40 pills a day. So the darker character did appeal to his mindset at that time, being a darker character, and he was in a dark place of his life, so it did sort of fit hand in hand with how he was emotionally and mentally at the time. The idea that the character actually in reality wasn't that bad, and if Dustin maybe was in a better place and in better shape, it might not have been half bad. It might not have been as bad as what it did turn out to be. The Black Rain character debuted at Hard Justice and lost in a match versus Chris Harris, with Black Rain being disqualified, and then he went on a bit of a rampage, attacking multiple referees and leaving Chris Harris in a bloody mess. So to be fair, all in all, the debut with the new character wasn't that bad. Yes, he lost the match, but it was more of like a monster type gimmick that they were trying to get across, and obviously him laying out officials, leaving Chris Harris in a bloody mess, you know, and the loss being via disqualification was a pretty solid debut for the character, to be fair. After the pay-per-view, the character was given some more explanation with Dustin Rhodes, then stating he would be able to switch back and forth between the two personalities. So obviously the one personality being Dustin Rhodes himself, and the second one being the Black Rain character. So for me, this is really where they started to lose the audience. They should have just 100% went into the Black Rain character and leave the Dustin Rhodes character behind. I feel like we didn't know half the time on Impact who'd be showing up. Like, we'd see Dustin Rhodes do like an interview backstage, and he's like, oh, I told you, I was scared of what would happen if I let him out, and blah blah. And it was just like, no, just like go fully into the character or not at all. Like, all this switching back and forth, and it was supposed to be a personality thing, so just have it where Black Rain's completely taken over, if you like, Dustin Rhodes, and just have it like that. Like, there was too much flitting back and forth. We had them backstage doing an interview, and then Abyss had attacked him, but Abyss attacked him because of him having an ongoing rivalry with Black Rain, and it's like, well, we're supposed to believe the two different guys. I don't know, it was a bit of flitting back and forth and getting a bit lost, to be honest, if you were watching at the time. So for me, they should 100% went with the Black Rain character, because that's what the plan is to push that character. But they wanted to try and flip between the two. As I stated before, Rhodes at this time was in the worst shape of his career, and it did start to show in the ring, unfortunately. So TNA then decided to make most of his matches. They would have tag matches with his partner Relic. If you remember Relic, it was Killer spelled backwards to make Relic, which they decided to tell us each and every time he was on our screens. Every week they were like, oh yeah, Relic, which is Killer spelled backwards. It's like, alright, yeah, we get that, and then they just keep telling you that. So yeah, that was always fun. Or he was involved in some gimmick matches as well, like hardcore style matches, to be able to hide the fact that he couldn't go as well in the ring anymore, because Dustin has always been a decent performer. He has been able to go in his career at quite a high level. So like gimmick matches that he had was such as like the Monsters Ball match, Shop of Horrors match of 10,000 thumbtacks, barbed wire Christmas tree match, rat on a pole match, all sorts of rubbish. Black Rain didn't start off too bad, but the more that they decided to open up and try to delve into the character, the worse that the character got. For me personally, especially, it became more unwatchable, including he had a pet rat for some reason. I can't remember what the reason behind the rat was, but then you'd occasionally see him licking the rat. You'd just be like, licking the rat. So like, the more they delved into the character, for me, the worse it got. Most of his matches as Black Rain were with the more hardcore style wrestlers. There wasn't technically a hardcore division then, but it was pretty much like a hardcore division without a title as such. So he'd wrestle the more hardcore style wrestlers in TNA at the time, such as Abyss, Raven and Rhino. More often than not, though, he lost these matches. In fact, I can't actually remember. So maybe if you do, let me know in the comments. I can't remember a single match that Black Rain character actually won. I think he pretty much lost them all, even in tag team action. In his debut, yeah, he lost that by disqualifications. That weren't too bad, but then he just repeatedly seemed to lose at pay-per-views on Impact Weekly. I don't remember a single match that he won. So that obviously didn't help this new character either. After back-to-back tag team defeats at pay-per-views with Relic against Super Eric Young, if you remember Eric Young, Superhero Gurrick, and Kaz, Dustin stopped showing up to work, and after 3 months of no shows, he was released and let go by TNA. So what started off as a good opportunity for Dustin after his dad went out of his way to get him a job in TNA, it turned into probably the worst part of Dustin's Hall of Fame worthy career, because let's not lose facts here. He has had a Hall of Fame worthy career, whether you class that as being Hall of Fame worthy for WWE or in wrestling in general. Like I said, he's wrestled multiple companies and he's had some bad, but he's had a hell of a lot more good than bad, if we're being honest. His current run in AEW, hasn't exactly been great. But hey, at least it's no Black Rain. Seems to be a little bit lost at the moment and where he's going. To be fair, he's probably been a little bit lost since Cody left. When Dustin's contract does come off, whether he'll stay or not, I'm not too sure. I always expect him, especially now Cody's back there, to go and have one last run in WWE, whether it just be for a match or two, or whether it just be for a year, and then for him to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. So that's it for me. Don't forget, as always, like, comment and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Keep an eye out for more looking back at wrestling videos coming soon on the Wrestling Group channel. So thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Black Rain TNA character. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on more looking back at wrestling videos that I'll be doing again in the future. So as always, thank you for watching, and be sure to come back again soon.